2000s, Adrenaline Paintball made some of the sweetest paintball guns money could buy, like this Adrenaline Angel LCD. And in 2001, I actually had one of these Angels. It was exactly this color. This is not a picture of mine. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a picture of my personal gun, but what it was an Angel LCD that Adrenaline had customized. The Adrenaline Angels had a really cool milling, an upgraded bolt, I think it's been quite some time, an air assist, this cool like hose that went from the solenoid to the feed neck to supposedly help with feeding, a matching freak kit, and some other stuff I can't remember. Like I said, it was a long time ago. It was like half my life ago. And they were doing that for a few years. Maybe like 2003, 2004 is when Adrenaline went away. We started to see kind of more budget high-end guns get popular. The Shocker SFT and Intimidator started to become more popular. You could get those things for like $1,000, and where these Adrenaline guns were $1,800. So the Shockers and Intimidator style guns just got far more popular, and these Adrenaline custom guns just kind of faded away. But now 20 years later, Adrenaline are back making custom guns. They really started in early 2019 when they released the Adrenaline Shocker. That Adrenaline Shocker was based on the Shocker XLS. And just like all of those custom Angels, the Adrenaline Shocker had custom milling and upgraded bolt, kind of unique anodizing, and then various other like small touches to make the Adrenaline guns unique. And after the success of the Shocker, Adrenaline released this Adrenaline Luxe. And the Adrenaline Luxe is actually based on the TM40. Oddly though, the Adrenaline was actually out before the TM40, so it kind of gave us a sneak peek at the TM40. I actually did a review on the TM40 a couple months ago. You can find that a couple months ago. I guess it was a couple months ago now. You can find it in the link in the description or in the info card up there. And because those guns are so similar, you know, the Adrenaline being based on the TM40, I'm kind of just going to cover what makes the Adrenaline an Adrenaline and what separates it from like that base or factory TM40. The milling is obviously the thing that makes the Adrenaline stand out though. It has a very deep geometric milling pattern, and the thing that's really kind of nice about these Adrenalines is they've really kind of covered every surface with this milling pattern, right? So you have the eye covers done, the feed neck lever, the back cap, the on-off, the freak barrel back, and the foregrip have that like pattern and milling everywhere. Sometimes when you get these custom guns, they'll leave off little sections, right? Like you're not gonna get the barrel milled, maybe they're not gonna mill the feed neck lever. Just leaving those parts out just makes it cheaper, right? It's just less stuff they have to worry about. But with the Adrenaline, they've pretty much covered the whole thing with the milling. The only parts they really left off were the trigger frame, feed neck, and the barrel tip. Those are still just kind of factory milled parts. And then leaving some of the parts factory, like not milling them, I kind of understand, right? Like the trigger frame, there's not really a lot of metal on there. It's really just kind of rubber grips everywhere. And the feed neck is already so small and streamlined, the only way to really make it cooler would be, you know, adding some metal to it, and I'd just make it bigger and bulkier for no reason. And then changing the barrel tip up, you know, I'd kind of like to see a little bit of milling on the barrel tip. I mean, they already did the barrel back, so maybe you could like make the milling like fade into the barrel tip somehow. I don't know, maybe that's a very minor complaint though, you know, so I don't know. Everywhere else it still looks great. The most iconic part about these guns by far has to be those triggers. They've always had these very cool looking triggers. They just had a lightning bolt on the side, they're black, they get the cool snake tongue. It's the exact same trigger style I had on my Angel LCD. Well, the Angel had like a, you know, double trigger, it wasn't this blade style, but it had the lightning bolt in the tongue. It's just cool. And it does feel very, very nice. Like just touching the thing, the anodizing, the machine quality on these guns is very good. And I think it does kind of make it a tick higher than to just base factory Luxes. It just feels really good. Going to the paintball field and shooting the Adrenaline, I think it really does kind of shoot exactly like the TM40, but it kind of should because it has a bolt that's going to be very similar. The Adrenaline though do have a few differences. The Adrenaline bolt has a different coating than the TM40. The TM40 has an ice coating. This ice coating helps reduce friction a little bit. We first saw that coating on the Luxe Ice, but the Adrenaline bolt and can are actually coming in WS2 coating or a tungsten disulfide coating. Adrenaline will actually call this combo, the bolt and the can, the F16 drive. I kind of really just think this is like the next generation of the ice coating, right? It's just a little bit more slippery. And that's really good for two reasons, right? I mean, we want the bolt to be able to move back and forth in there easy. And having less friction just means you need to use less energy, so you use less pressure. So in theory, having this WS2 coating compared to the ice coating, maybe you can lower the pressure a little bit. And then having it be slipperier just means there's less friction. So you're gonna get less wear on those O-rings. And that also technically, I guess, means that grease is less important. So you might not have to worry about maintenance as much, but still grease it a lot. WS2 coating might be a little better than the ice stuff. So you could actually buy the F16 bolt and can and then put it in other guns. So it'll actually work for the Luxe X, the TM40, and the Shocker amps. And the Adrenaline, just like the standard TM40, comes with all the stuff you'd expect from a paintball gun that's over $1,500. It's electronic, has an Oled screen, you can recharge these things via USB-C, or now with DLX's new wireless charging pad. It has an on-off ASA that I'm kind of on and off about, has a very good lever feed neck, and also has the lever or hinge style ball detents. I like them a lot. There's a bunch more details about this thing. You can find them more in that TM40 review though. And no question, the slickest part about the TM40 and this Adrenaline Luxe is just how easy they come apart. And you can really just take apart everything really easy. You can take apart the eye covers really quick, the bolt comes off really fast, you can remove the grips without tools, kinda. The trigger frame comes off without tools, you just flip this latch, flip the latch in the back, trigger frame slides right off. On the inside of that frame, you can remove the solenoid and the battery really quick. But the main reason you want to remove that trigger frame is to install the Adrenaline mechanical frame. And it's really easy, that electric frame just pops off, and then you actually have to remove the solenoid and install the new mechanical valve that will go in replace of that solenoid. It's crazy. I mean, it literally takes like a minute and a half. It's very, very easy. And the mechanical frame feels very, very nice. If you guys have ever shot like the Shocker CVO, it has this very similar feel to that CVO. It's a really kind of crisp, kind of weighted, smooth, consistent trigger pull. You can kind of think about it maybe like the CS2 mechanical frame is going to feel very similar to the EMEC or that M170R. So the Shocker CVO frame is really going to kind of feel similar to this Luxe Adrenaline mechanical frame. I really like it. They have a very good feel. I don't know, they just feel very premium. They feel really good, and I thought the same thing about the CVO frame. It just feels like very, very nice. They're very adjustable. I mean, you can pretty much adjust every part of this trigger. They're very good. I don't know. It feels really good. I don't know. The most unique thing, and probably the coolest part about these mechanical frames, is the Oled screen on the back. So it's definitely the only mechanical frame with a screen on it. There's a colored Oled screen made by Garmin. It's really just a watch that kind of just took a watch out and shoved it on the back of the gun. It's really kind of neat. You can connect it to Bluetooth so you can get like weather updates and text messages and set timers and all kinds of stuff. You know, setting timers, text messages, setting timers is probably useful. Text and weather, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Most people are probably just going to use the timer. It's really nice though. I think that pretty much covers it. I really like it. You know, I liked the TM40. I think the TM40 is built well, it's reliable, shoots really good. And the Adrenaline Luxe is all that stuff, right? It's reliable, shoots really good. And I think it's built a little bit better. I think the custom milling and the tweaks they've done to it make it feel a little bit nicer and maybe a little bit more premium. The Adrenaline Luxe is really cool. I want them to make an Adrenaline Angel again. That's not gonna happen.